Hi, my name is Ranveer, and today we are about to learn professional ethics in audit and assurance. So first, let us look at need for ethics in audit and assurance. A professional auditor need to act and seen to act in an ethical, professional manner, which increase the degree of trust of intended users and stakeholders in audit work, and it brings great credibility to audit and assurance profession in general. This means a professional auditor should always conduct their audit work in proper ethical manner because it brings a high level of trust of intended users and stakeholder in the financial statement of their client, and it also brings a great level of credibility to their work and the audit and assurance profession in general. Next, let us look at approach to ethics. The ethics in audit and assurance can be approached in two ways. One, in principle based approach, second, in rule based approach. So, first, let us look at principle based approach. Principle based approach requires compliance with the spirit of guidance. This means the principle based approach requires an auditor to apply the guidance which is based upon the principle that they have learned. Next, it requires auditor to use professional judgment. This means principle-based approach require auditor to apply their professional judgment which they have made upon multiple years of experience. Next, it is flexible so can be applied to new, unusual or rapidly changing situations. This means principle-based approach is very flexible and it can be applicable to many unusual and rapidly changing situations. It is principle may be applied across national boundaries where law may not. This means principles are flexible and they can be applicable to all around the world, multiple countries where even laws may not. Next, let us look at rule-based approach. Rule-based approach may be easier to follow because rules are clearly defined. Because this simply means rule-based approach is easier because it is based upon clearly written rules and laws. Next, it needs frequent updating to ensure the guidance applied to new situation. This means rule-based approach frequently need updating and adjusting to the situation they adhere. It may encourage auditor to interpret requirement narrowly in order to get around the spirit of requirement. This simply means rule-based approach provide very limited amount of guidance in an unusual condition, virtually impossible to be able to deal with in every situation. This simply means rule-based approach can be impossible in many unusual situations. Next, let us look at five fundamental principles of ethics. First, integrity. Be honest and straightforward in all professional and business relationship. Do not turn blind eye or counsel with his enemies. Objectivity. Objectivity do not allow bias, conflict of interest, or undue influence to override professional or business judgment. Professional competence and due care. Maintain up to date knowledge and skill at diligibly and carefully in accordance with technical standards. Okay. Next, confidentiality. Respect the confidentiality of acquired information. Do not dispose without proper legal or professional authority. Last, professional behavior. Comply with relevant laws and avoid acting, including in advertising that discredits the profession. Okay, next, let us look at five categories of threat. Five fundamental categories of vulnerability. First, self-interest threat. Financial or other interest influencing judgment. For example, owning clients' share, loans, or high fee reliance. Second, self review. Evaluating the result of previous judgment made or service performed by your own firm. For example, auditing financial statement that you have prepared. Advocacy. Promoting client's position to the point that professional skepticism is compromised. For example, promoting listed clients' share, familiarity, becoming too sympathetic to a client's interests due to long-term association, close friendship, or family ties. Last, intimidation, being deterred from acting objectively by actual or perceived pressure, for example, threat of replacement, litigation, or blackmail. Next, so let us look at the threats individually. First we will look at the most important and most common threat. In it, we are looking at first and most common threat: fee dependency. The fee dependency threat can be created if fee from one client represent a large proportion of the income of audit firm. Overdependency could lead to auditor to ignore adjustments required in the financial statement for fear of losing the client. If fee from audit clients represents a large proportion of the firm's total fee, for example, 15%, the firm should implement appropriate safeguards. This simply means if an auditor or audit firm has a client which represent the big amount of their total income, it can create a self-interest that because they don't want to provide any unwanted judgment to their most important customer. Next, gifts and hospitality. Acceptance of goods, service, or hospitality from an audit client can create self-interest threat, intimidation, and familiarity threat, as the auditor may feel in debt to the client. This means if an auditor or audit individual receives a gift or a hospitality or any services from their client, they it may create a familiarity threat because they may feel in debt to to that client. Next, business relationship. If audit firm or member enter into business relationship with client, for example, joint venture, market engagement, this leads to self-interest because auditor would have an interest in the success of successful operation of the client. This simply means business relationship. If an auditor enter into business relationship with the client, they may not want to show any problems in the financial statement of that client because it may affect their business relationship and business operations too. Next, potential employment with an audit client. If a member of audit team has a reason to believe that they may become an employee of client, they will not wish to do anything to affect their potential future employment. This means when an audit, this let us look at with an example. If, as we all know, relationship between audit firms and their customer, or aka their client, can run through multiple years because of their long-term contract. Meanwhile, while providing audit services, some audit individual or the part of audit team may get an employment offer from their client because that client believes that those individuals are good at what they are doing or they are very knowledgeable and can be helpful to them, so they may provide them with professional and employment offer. But this can create an self-interest set because those individual from audit team may believe that they don't want to affect their future employment by providing any opinion which can affect them. Next, let us look at familiarity threats. Long association of senior professional using the same senior professional in an engagement team over a long period may cause auditor to become too trusting, less skeptical of the client, resulting in material misstatement going undetected. This simply means when an audit professional or senior audit professional is in with long contact or long term relationship with the client, they may be over under skeptical or overconfident about the financial statement of those clients, and they may overlook any detail that which is necessary. Family and personal relationship, family threat, family threat, a self-interest or intimidation threat may occur when member of engagement team has family or personal relationship with someone at the client who is able to exert significant influence over financial statement or subject matter another assurance engagement. This means when an audit team individual or part of audit team has family ties with the client that they are auditing, that may create a familiarity threat because they don't want to affect the employment of their family member or relatives. Next, recruitment services, familiarity, self-interest, or intimidation threat may arise if firm involved in recruiting senior personnel for client. This simply means when an audit firm provide recruitment service means they provide professional individual to their client. It can create familiarity, intimidation, and self-interest threat because the financial statement that they are about to audit can be prepared by the professional that they have also provided. Next, self-review threat. Accounting and bookkeeping services. Preparing accounting records or financial statement for an audit client might create a self-review threat. Accounting and bookkeeping services include preparing accounting records and financial statement, recording transaction, payroll services. This simply means this simply means when an audit firm also provide accounting and bookkeeping services, which means they create accounts and do bookkeeping, and at the year end they are also going to audit those accounts. This simply means they are overconfident and under skeptical about the financial statement that they themselves have created and may miss out on any detail or information which is important for their for their professional judgment. Next, internal audit services. In addition to self-review threat, the auditor needs to carefully not to assume that management responsibility. This means like book accounting and bookkeeping, if an audit firm also provide internal audit services that can also create self-review threat because any internal audit work done by the individual may also be done by the individual who will provide year-end or a proper audit, external audit, and they may be under skeptical about any details or miss out any details in financial statement. Next, advocacy thread. Promoting the position of client or representing them in some way would mean the audit firm is seen to be taking sides with the client. Example include representing the client in court or in any dispute where matter is material to the financial statement, negotiating on client's behalf or finance, providing valuation services to the audit client. This means when an auditor is promoting the position or anything related to their client, it creates an advocacy thread that they are overindulged in the work of their client and they are not responding or are aware of the work they are clearly about need to do, which is auditing, and that can reduce the quality of audit work they are doing. La- uh, Last, intimidation threat. Actual or perceived pressure from client or attempts to exercise undue influence over the assurance provided create intimidation threat. This simply means when a client threatens auditor or audit team or audit individual to replace them for litigation or any perceived pressure to get the opinion that they wanted creates an intimidation threat which means audit opinion is not proper because it is provided under pressure of the client. Next, at last, let us look at the consequences of unethical behavior. The practitioner should apply spirit of code in everyday practice. Professional bodies such as ACCA have right to discipline members who fail to comply with the code of ethics through a process of disciplinary hearing which can result in fines, suspension of membership, or withdrawal of membership. This means when professional auditor does not apply proper ethics in their work or do some unethical work in auditing, they can be punished by professional bodies like ACCA in a disciplinary hearing, in which they can fine those auditors. They can suspend their membership for a number of period, for long term or short term number of period, and they can also withdraw their membership, which means they can cancel their membership and take away their professional work, professional rights and professional uh, title.